greatest ever done it.
MOBTV, long live MC, DJ Screw, Fat Pat Hawk, and all the fallen soldiers. It's long live the South, long live hip hop, long live MOBTV.
Baby, I'm a G-boy, hashtag street boy. Wrong.
Hardcore, the crux of it is that, you know, I'm a product of golden era hip hop. I grew up in Arlington, Texas. And so, you know, your music has influenced me in the same way as influenced folks out here. You gave me a lot of encouragement to be able to articulate and kind of stand on my own two, reinforcing a lot of the moral compass that my family gave to me, translated in different ways, just kind of means a lot. So anyway, I'm interested in narrative, who people are, and I had to sit down and talk to them. And so the way that I chunk this conversation is we're going to talk first, I hope, about kind of who you are as a graduate, kind of, you know, where you're born, religion, how much that's important to you, stuff like that. Then we'll jump to your representativeness of the community, you know, tribe, community power, social justice, and then we'll kind of talk about the state of hip hop and where it is now and how it is you see and understand it. So from jump, where were you born?
I was born in a small town called Fresh Off of I'm a native Houstonian. Spent a lot of time on the West Coast. I spent a lot of time in the Midwest. And I spent the vast majority of my time down south. So if I would have to sum it up in a nutshell, I would say I'm an all-around, well-rounded person. I've seen, you know, both sides of the track. You know, I'm a musician first. I can play any instrument that you can name. So I would hate to take the ability for somebody, you know, to hear my music in Iowa, right? Or something down south, or somebody New Jersey don't want to listen to me because you know what I mean? Like I just say it's music, or just say it's hip hop, just say it right now, and just hit me out. You know?
I do. So I don't know if I'm right here on my research, but that your uncle.
When I was about 8 years old, my uncle gave me my first guitar. His name was Eddie. You probably see his name on production sometimes, especially with a lot of Diary album and Boy Meets Girl. I got a lot of, that's still a lot of people say, where you get your funk from? Well, I got my funk from my Uncle Eddie. Okay. All right, he gave me my first guitar. And when people ask me how I learned how to play guitar, when I got my first guitar, probably about 2 to 4 years old, I got my first guitar. When I got my first real electric guitar when I was like 8. They were like, how do you learn how to play guitar? Well, I learned how to play guitar from a bass player. So that's what I play with all 5 fingers.
And you're left-handed, right?
And I'm left-handed, yeah. Yeah, my uncle was a bass player. He is a bass player. So I learned how to play guitar like a bass player. So that's why my licks kind of funky.
So in terms of your family, is he a staple for you? Is it your uncle, your mother, your grandmother, your stepfather, those?
I grew up in a house full of music. It was kind of like a breed for a certain breed of a dog, or a certain breed of a fighter, or a certain breed of I was a bred musician, so like my mom, to her mom, to her mom, my grandfather, dad, all making music.
So what did the music mean to you? What is it mean?
It was the first language that I learned to speak.
Yeah.
Like I just look like this, man. I'm really, my mom said I'm not supposed to be driving. I just wrecked my car the other day. So yeah, I was lost for a song. So the chick from AAA just called. And it's about somebody else's call. Like, damn, bad time.
So I want to talk about that a little bit. So if music was the first language that you learned, and you learned it from family, you know, I talk about language a lot as being a form of behavior, how it is that you present yourself and define yourself. So certainly you've done that, right? I'm interested in looking at the importance that your family meant to you. And I'm going to get to kind of why, but it seems, can I get another mic? It seems to have informed a moral compass. This is good? Thanks, man. It seems to have informed a moral compass that you've been very consistent with. So who do you get that from? And I'm asking because I remember just watching MOBTV Raps, and I think I remember seeing you on there with your grandmother, you know, which I thought was amazing for some reason. Right? Because I'm a young kid, I'm looking at the Ghetto Boys, I'm hearing you all speak all of this type of stuff, a worldview. And this worldview meant a lot to me. Can you tell me what she meant to you, your mother?
Well, my grandmother was more like my mother than my mother in my early life. See, my mom had me when she was 21. Can you imagine you at 21 having a baby and, you know what I mean, still doing whatever you had to do or whatever, like. So I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. So I couldn't call her mama, but my mama, so I called her mama. All right? Let's get that straight. That's my mama. Yeah. I spent a lot of time with her and she sung a lot, you know. And my uncles had the boys room and the girls room. And my grandmother had 9 kids. I was the 10th of my grandmother's 9 children. Okay. My uncles had a room called the boys room. And my aunts had a room called the girls room. Yeah. In my uncle's room, the boys room, they played a lot of rock and roll. And they smoked a lot of cigarettes. And they played a lot of guitar, a lot of music in there. So, I'll tell you something. So I had the records uncles when everybody had records uncles growing up and actually gave me beer and stuff and got you high and shit without you there. So I didn't know I had that kind of uncles. So I was probably about 8 or 9 years old and we was listening to Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent. I don't know if y'all ever heard this song. Alright, so I'm just laughing and shit. Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent, right? We was outside with him looking at the radio, and they were smoking weed. And my uncle Eric Quinn said, let's blow him an Indian charge. You know what an Indian charge is, right? They got a hole like this. And my uncle was like 50 feet tall, and I was 85 years old. They picked me up, and they said, keep blowing 2 seconds. My chest, and all of a sudden, and I would get up and the world would be black. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, man, you know. And Mama would always say, hey man, you gotta control that high. You can't go in the house looking like that. Alright? Now, first things first, I got a lot of love and respect for my uncles. And like a lot of people be like, oh man, that's messed up, oh man, that's terrible, man. I ain't mad at that. Because that probably helped mold me into who I am today. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit that goes on in your early life that would make you say, oh man. Some people it turns them into failure. Some people it turns them into awesome success stories. You know what I mean? I feel like my uncle introduced me to that side of it, let me know early. Like, dude, you got some choices to make in life. Those 2 uncles, Erie, Eddie, and I had an uncle that was already grown, and she was already married off. They were in the heavy and the music front. I had another uncle that was heavy and the old. Right, because it's called Sharon. Right, it's called Sharon. That's the original place. But he, I had the uncles that always got high and always played music. And I had the uncle that was always growing. And always put on a good job. And always telling me, you know, where I was going to work. My friend, that's how you run it.
So were you perceptive of those 2 groups of uncles then?
Yeah, I had to. And all in all, like my grandfather was always working, but he was a very, very strong, he was a very strong dude, you know, very strong will. You just couldn't get that over. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was real mean, but he was really cool. I don't know how you can be really mean and really cool at the same time, but he was really mean and really cool. You know, and he blew the hell out of a harmonica. And he had a lot of guns. He had got drunk, he was always drunk. He got drunk, he was a plumber too, master plumber. He put pipes and plumbing and stuff in this spot in the country, but now it's like a big rural area in the city. Right. But he put the plumbing in there, and he made a lot of money doing it. But I remember one night he came home drunk, and he took his gun, and he went outside, and he walked back in the house and said, "Roll!" My grandpa was back. "Roll!" I just killed her. That was the name of across the street. He didn't kill her. He didn't kill Mr. Hurley, he was just drunk. Anyway, so there's your uncles, there's your grandfather, your grandmama, right? My mom made the discipline in the house. He was. Okay. My grandfather punched me and made you push your hand. I later found out the fact that my grandfather's arm was petrified like a tree. So when he hit you, he broke a wall. Everybody my grandfather ever hit because they live on themselves. And I'm not even laughing. I'm that serious. You can call anybody that my grandfather has ever hit, and they pissed on themselves. So let me talk about how fit this stereotype of a hip hop artist, right? This master narrative, right? You're supposed to be, and even if people see you from a very superficial distance, right? People would just say, well, this guy grew up single-parent household, and that's why he uses foul language and he talks about pussy and all that kind of stuff, right? So the thing is that we complicate that a lot. So you have a family, right? That meant a lot to you. And so, are they the ones that give you the courage to be the type of artist that you are? You think? I think that what makes me the type of artist that I am, do you understand yourself as being courageous? I understand myself as being courageous. I don't want to fail. Yeah, my biggest failure. I failed so many times in life until I don't want to fail. I failed math, science, and I failed, as a parent. I failed as a businessman. I failed as everything I've ever failed. Growing up, I don't ever want to fail that. Was probably the main push. What I am, what makes me the type of artist that I am. Are you your successes though? Of course. I push you on this because I've heard, of course, you're able to articulate yourself beautifully in music, talking about your catalog and all that kind of stuff. But I know that in some ways, like I remember Reggie, you were a little hesitant to kind of step into that. And so do you understand yourself as having changed the trajectory of what a music looks like? I can't say that. I'm extremely grateful with his uncles at the same time. Thankful to feel like that about me. But I come from a little spot in Houston, Texas, like grew up in the house. Not even half the size of this room. With 10 or 12 people in there. And to be able to go all around the world and people say, damn, Face, you did something.
You changed the game.
damn face you changed the game, and the professor says, man, I'm humble.
I mean, but it becomes important because I think that one of the things that we often do, in general, but within our community especially, is it becomes easy to look at our failures. The research I do looks at assets, you know what I'm saying? Because we're all told that we're not enough. We're all told that we're insufficient in some way. But I think, yeah, but I think it's so interesting that you kind of ticked off where it was that you weren't successful, but here you are, great success. And we know that great success is really birth of having not accomplished or failed in some area. But then you're realizing this kind of ultimate success. And I want to jump a little bit into, you know, you said that you failed as a parent, so I'm not going to get deep into that. But then you also are able to say that, you know, your daughter is going to be the first in your family to finish, to graduate from college, and she's on trajectory to go to law school. And so, I mean,
That's true.
But then we know the success is there.
Yeah, that was just the drive in her.
Yeah. But don't you think you had something to do with it?
I feel like the me in her. You know what I mean? The refusal to pay no promise. Yeah. Did that for her. She graduated. Yeah.
She already graduated?
She already graduated.
That's what's up.
And my daughter graduated from University of Central Missouri. She got a degree in criminal justice, and she's on her way to law school. I let her take this year off to have some fun with it. You know, because she went from 12th grade to 4 years. That's hard. You know, and everybody is saying like they can't get a job and then and nobody. That's a lot. But my daughter came home from school. She had like 15 jobs, like in 2 weeks. I'm like, damn. And like, yo, have some paper to do something. I'm talking about blowing the phone up, turning jobs down. And her biggest, I think that what she loves to do the most is she wants to work in the prison. And she wants to help us. She wants to figure out what's going on and try to fix this shit. And I admire her.
Do you think that, you just said that her success, really there's some of you in her, that refusal to fail. But in your discussion of her being interested in wanting to look at fixing people and helping folks, you see that as a component of you as well? And I ask because, you know, one of the things that I resonated to with you among many things was the fact that you were so vulnerable and authentic. Right? And so when it wasn't in vogue, it still isn't in many cases, to be able to talk about mental strain or depression or anything like that, you put it front and center. And so when I'm talking about, you know, you said you're afraid to fail, and I define that as courage. I think that's one form of courage. But I think for you to be able to look at your demons, and I characterize them as such, but if you look at your demons and being able to put them front and center so someone else can learn from them, I mean, that's some powerful stuff. So why do you think you're able to do that? Because that doesn't have anything to do with failure, does it? I mean, why are you able to say, I'm depressed, or I thought about it, or tried to commit suicide? How are you able to talk about those things? Why is it important to talk about those things?
I feel like it's important for me to talk about it because that's how I feel. I've always been known to speak or write my heart. You know what I mean? If somebody will listen to it, if I also listen to it, and I got plenty of other stuff that you can be listening to. You make no mistake about it. Growing up, and really bold. I am in that. Dealt with a lot. Elements of mental issues that I found out that was, you know, pretty easy to be in love. Seems to be easier, but that's crazy. Yeah, right. It's crazy. depression, manic depression. Manic depression, people just hang around me and then I see my 21-year-old daughter that's going through the same shit now, and she wants to try to get away from here. So I found myself back and forth with different reads, with different hospitals, and different treatments for her. Now I want to kill myself. And when I think about it, I really don't know why it was, why I felt like that. So I can tell her why she feels like that. You feel me? Yeah. Like, I wish I could say something, about her mind that can help her. Really, nothing, no drug, I can really tell you how you're supposed to feel. Right. It's okay, I'm waking up from power to the people. The next day I wake up and I'm like, fuck. Doing it. I don't know. You ever had those moments? Anybody had it? I feel great moment to get like, oh. Yeah, man. I feel it. But I just want you to know that at the end of the day, and the beginning of the next, if you do something, then there's only one God. Yeah. And I honestly believe that. And I believe that God don't need no help. Yeah. Exactly. Right? I believe it like that. Okay. You can guess my religious America. Okay. We feel you, man.
So let me, in pivoting once, let me talk about how it is, well, let me ask you to talk about how it is that you're connected to the broader community. So certainly you're connected to your family, right? But how is it that you see yourself as connected to the broader community, whether it be in Houston or
everybody in this room? I think I've said something that hit a nerve with them when I said something that they understood. I felt away from it.
But that had to be in baby steps, right? I'm just asking because you had your family first, and then I think of my block. And so certainly that was, I think this is correct, that was based kind of cresting in the mainstream area, right? With the hook and whatnot, that's not reasonable.
I was making a record, I wasn't trying to make a particular type of record.